everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amy, a special education teacher, a voracious reader, and someone who is going to be slowing down with buying books in the new year and reading what I already own. So today I'm going to just take you through the 25 books of 2025 that I'm going to be reading from my own shelves. I'm doing a read what you own challenge this year, and I don't really actually think that will be too hard for me. On average, I can read about a book a week. So if I'm doing the math right on this, if I were to read 2 of my own books for each month, that would get me to 24 books. But I know that I can read way more than that in the summertime, so I have no doubt that I'll get through all these books by the end of the year. And this will help me when I feel like, oh, I still want to read a new release book that comes out and I can just take it out from the library. I do have a couple of books that I know are coming out this year that I am allowed to buy, and I've already purchased 3 books because I had a gift certificate to a local bookstore for Christmas. So I already spent that. They are not here yet because one of them is a pre-order and then they all come in at the same time. So I'll talk more about those books in like an upcoming TBR video when I get around to reading those. And I think they're like short novellas, so it shouldn't really take me too long. But those are separate. I'm not counting them as part of the 25 for 2025, but I do think I'll probably get to those as well. So the first book that I plan on reading in 2025 is Every Gift a Curse by Caroline O'Donoghue. This is the last book in a trilogy. It's a YA sort of witchy trilogy, and so far so good. Hopefully it doesn't fall into the curse of the trilogy where you have like an amazing first book and the second book is kind of meh, and then the third one is like, ugh. I did enjoy both the first and second books. I am a little less than 100 pages into this, and I'm enjoying it so far. I really am not sure how this trilogy is going to end up, so I will be reporting back on this in my January wrap-up that I'll put out in February. I've already started reading this. It's definitely one that I will get done. It's not my first book of the year though, because I actually have already read another book first. But yeah, so this is one of the ones that I'll be reading, and I do recommend the series. It's very YA. We're dealing with teenagers in high school, but they do discover that they have powers, and there's tarot cards in here, but they're not, even though they are traditional tarot cards, these ones are like a cursed object sort of tarot deck that they find. Each of the characters in the friendship group have their own special gift that they are able to do, and it's really cool. So I like it. Oh yeah, and they also take on like a Christian fundamentalist cult group in Ireland. So if that sounds like something you'd want to read, you'll probably like the series. So the rest of the books I'll talk about, they're really in no particular order. I'm a mood reader, so whenever I feel like reading a book, that's when I'll pick it up. Another book I plan on reading in 2025 is The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. This one just came out relatively recently, and I got this as a Christmas gift as well, and I'm really excited to read this one. It sounds really cool. It's one of those books where like death is a character in the book. I don't know too much about this. I just know that the main character is the 13th child. So she's like the 13th sibling, the baby of the family. And because of that, she's promised to one of the gods. She spends her childhood waiting for her benefactor, Merrick, the god of death, to arrive and take her away. I really don't know too much about it. She typically writes YA, like gothic fantasy romance. So I'm assuming that that's what this is, but I actually don't know if this is a romance. I really don't know too much about it, but it sounds good. It has ghosts in it, and it has death as a character, so I think it'll be cool. Maybe I'll get around to this in January. I have no idea. The next book that I am looking forward to reading in 2025 is Hera by Jennifer Saint, and I love everything that Jennifer Saint has written. I really enjoyed Atalanta. That one was my favorite, and I loved Ariadne as well. Electra, I thought it was fine. The myth itself makes it like difficult to really enjoy that story in general, so it's more of the source material than it is Jennifer Saint's writing or anything like that. But this one here I'm really intrigued by because I have never read anything from Hera, the goddess of marriage, her perspective on things, because typically in Greek mythology she's just kind of looked at as like almost like this jealous shrew wife of Zeus who's always taking out her frustrations about his dalliances on the women that he's having affairs with or engaging with even without their consent. So it's going to be interesting because most of her books books are feminist retellings. I'm really interested to see what she does with this particular character. So I've been meaning to read Night Watching by Tracy Sierra for a while now. It's just been sitting here. There's like no reason for why I haven't been getting to it. And it sounds amazing. And basically this is a thriller about a woman who is at home with her two very, very young children. She is home alone. I'm not sure where her husband is, if he's like working or if he's away on business or whatever. But she discovers right away that there's an intruder in her home. And it seems like it's just like this survival thriller novel of how she's going to keep herself and her children safe in the situation. Sounds terrifying as well. So I am looking forward to reading this. Book number 5. I should probably start numbering these to make sure I get to 25. Number 5, The Last Line by Scott Lyerly. And this is a mystery. I don't think it is cozy. It takes place with a theater production. And I think one of the starring male lead drops dead and everyone in the cast is a potential suspect or a possible next victim. So the woman who is running this program, she has to catch the killer. She's our main protagonist, Ellie Marlowe. And she also has Tourette's syndrome. And Scott Lyerly also talked about how he has Tourette's syndrome in the panel discussion that I attended at the New England Crime Bake in November. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting to this book this year. For number 6, we have Pangu's Shadow by Karen Bao. And this one is really piquing my interest because this is sort of outside of my comfort zone of what I normally read. This seems like it's more of like a sci-fi fantasy, but also a mystery. And we have two people. They are not friends. I believe they are just both in the same like college class, and their professor dies. And I think one of them is considered a suspect, but they're both trying to work together in order to figure out who killed their professor. And it takes place in like a totally different star system as well. So it's going to be really interesting. I can't wait to check this one out. And I believe one of the main characters is neurodivergent. I think she also has a physical disability as well. And it's an Own Voices book. So the author herself is also neurodivergent. So this will be cool. Can't wait to read that one. So I'll put these two together. So we have book 7 and book 8, and they are Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands and Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Oh, this is the first one. This is the sequel. And they are by Heather Fawcett. I received these from my lovely friend Kim in the mail as a Christmas present this year. So thanks, Kim. Can't wait to read these. They weren't on my radar before for no like really apparent reason. I just haven't been on I think that these are fantasy. That's what I assume, and they're about the Fae. So that just hasn't been on my radar. I've really been on this horror kick or this cozy murder mystery kick, but I've heard nothing but good things about these. So I might save these for springtime. That just seems like a really good time of year to read about fairies. And I am excited. I don't know anything more about it than that. Books 9 and 10 that I'm looking forward to reading in 2025 are both by Mona Awad. We have Bunny, and this is about a student in college, and she is there on a scholarship, and she, from what I know, she's not like an outcast person. She's like a regular person, and she's kind of seems a little bit like concerned about this sorority group. It's like a group of girls, and they call themselves the Bunnies. Things go off the rails from what I know about this book. You're dealing with a clique. I don't know if there's horror elements in this. I'm really not sure. It's just considered like weird fiction, and considering I've read her other book, All's Well, I can see where this would probably just go down like a very trippy rabbit hole, if you will. So I'm looking forward to this one. And then the other one is called Rouge, and this one has to do with themes around beauty. Yes, because it says Bella's obsessed with beauty, just like her estranged mother, Noelle. When Noelle mysteriously dies, Bella returns to Southern California, grappling with the lingering questions surrounding her mother's death. Soon after the funeral, a cryptic video about a transformative spa experience lures Bella to, I don't know any French and I don't want to pronounce this and embarrass myself, but it's a lavish, culty spa to which her mother was devoted. There, Belle discovers the frightening secret behind her obsession with her reflection and what lurks beyond the glass. So this sounds amazing. Can't wait to read that one. So I believe this is book 11 on the list. So Beneath the Poet's House by Krista Carmen. a thriller. And this just came out on the tail end of 2024. I had pre-ordered this one. No, I received this one as a gift as well because it came out in December. Yeah, and a family member got me this for Christmas, so that was very nice. In this book, Saoirse White, she moves to Providence, Rhode Island, into the historic home of Sarah Helen Whitman, the 19th century poet and spiritualist, once quoted by Edgar Allan Poe. Saoirse, her husband has died. I don't know if that's what sparks this move. She's also a poet and she meets all of these people. It just seems like there's really some cool stuff going on here. I don't know what the thriller aspect of this is, but it seems like it's going to talk a lot about these famous writers, including Walt Whitman. There's talks about mystic beliefs, transcendentalists. So I think there's also a romance in here. Sounds like it's going to be kind of gothic and creepy. And I hope it's good. Book 12, Totally Tubular Terrors, a collection of 1980s themed horror tales. And I know this is going to be good because Rebecca Rowland has a story in here. I don't recognize any other names. Oh no, Steve Van Sampson's in here as well. So this is bound to be a really cool collection. So it's all 1980s themed horror short stories. We have library books attacking, arcade games bringing a different kind of win, road trips that take wrong turns, children hearing voices that adults cannot hear. Sounds like it's going to be a good one. So I'm excited to check this one out. So I think this is number 13, Wicked Abandoned. This is an anthology by the New England horror writers. Kristen Dearborn is in this. So definitely going to be a good one. She wrote The Amazing Alligator Girl, and you remember that was on my top 10 list for 2024. So in this collection, the dread of abandonment lurks in the walls of an asylum, the storied old mansion in the woods, on the internet, and on the faces of a family withering during a pandemic. Siblings are lost, and ones we dare not lose become ghosts on a bus or creatures at a rave. These stories and poems are stark reminders that in the end, we're all abandoned and we're all alone. So that sounds like a creepy collection. I don't know if this is considered cheating, but book 14 here, Fear of Clowns, a horror anthology. I had started reading this and I'm only a couple stories into it. I only made it to page like 34 and I was enjoying it, but then like seasonally I wanted to read all these other books, so it just kind of fell to the side a bit, but I am still really looking forward to this. This has a lot of great names in it. We've got Clay McLeod Chapman, Rachel Harrison, Gwendolyn Kist, who wrote The Haunting of Belkwood, and I read that in December, so I still have to do that wrap-up video. Red Lego, I think that's how you pronounce that, and I had read something else by her before. It was very good. So I'm excited to keep going on with this. I'm really enjoying it. It's just horror stories about clowns. What is not to love? Book 15 is The Murder of Madison Garcia by Marcy McCreary, and this is a sequel to a Ford family mystery. It is not a cozy murder mystery. There's tons of swearing in these books, and they're great. The first one was The Disappearance of Trudy Solomon. And in this mystery series, we are following a female detective, and she also collaborates with her dad, who is a retired detective, and they solve crimes and murders together. So they take place in the Catskills of New York. This one here is about a woman who was found stabbed to death in a car at Sackett Lake. Is there an inheritance, an accidental death, money laundering, extramarital affairs, family rivalries? So there'll be a lot of suspects to sift through, and I'm excited to read it. Number 16, Nightmare of a Trip by Maureen Kilmer. I just came across this at my local independent bookstore, and just based on the cover and the title, I was like, I need this book. And then I read the back of it and I was like, I definitely need this book. I am saving this for summer vacation because it just seems perfect. I might take this on our summer trip that we go on. So I'll just read you the back because even the blurb is so great. This is one family getaway they'll never forget. Lee Somerset wants to spend some quality time with her kids before they grow up, and her husband has always fancied himself sort of a Clark Griswold figure. So the Somersets will be spending their family vacation on the road, driving from suburban Milwaukee to Orlando, Florida. Already off to a rocky start when they stumble upon an abandoned, half-burned-down farmhouse in Indiana, the Somersets inadvertently unleash an eerie history that will follow them for the rest of their trip. From creepy indoor water parks to paranormally plagued Cracker Barrels, it's one thing after another in the pursuit of the great American summer road trip. Will the Somersets be able to shake these bad vibes and get on with the family bonding? Or will the road less traveled quite literally become the highway to hell? That's so great. And my parents love Cracker Barrel, so I just thought that was a really funny reference. I think we're on 16 here. And we have White Trash and Recycled Nightmares Stories. So it's a short story collection by Rebecca Rowland. I'm sort of leery now of getting short story collections that are just all by one author, but because I've read other short stories by Rebecca Rowland, I know I'm going to enjoy this series of short stories. So let's see. A workaholic splits his time between home and hotel rooms until an anonymous cryptic message arrives, setting off a wrinkle in the time continuum and slowly shredding his sanity. Elsewhere, a woman's jealousy over her spouse's connection with their only child boils over, leading her to see monsters everywhere except the mirror. University fraternity brothers discover that a cruel prank has dire consequences, but the full extent of their punishment is yet to come. While an intrepid hiker explores an abandoned Cold War facility hidden within a Massachusetts mountain, only to realize that military secrets aren't the only things buried within. From witches, wendigos, and werecats to sirens, sadists, and serial killers, Rebecca Rowland serves readers a 20-tale meal of cosmic creature and quiet horror in platters heaping with unsettling trepidation. So this sounds amazing. Like there's so many things about this that are just right up my alley, and I cannot wait to read this collection. I mean, I kind of want to start reading it now, to be honest. Okay, don't listen to me at all about the numbers because I think I've been messing this up. I want to say this is book 17. I don't even know anymore. But what we do have is The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods, and this was a book that my mom surprised me with. I think it was early fall. It was just like a surprise gift. She thought I would like this one. Let's see. On a quiet street in Dublin, a lost bookshop is waiting to be found. For too long, Opaline, Martha, and Henry have been the side characters in their own lives. But when a vanishing bookshop casts its spell, these three unsuspecting strangers will discover that their own stories are every bit as extraordinary as the ones found in the pages of their beloved books. By unlocking the secrets of the shelves, they find themselves transported to a world of wonder where nothing is as it seems. I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be like a sweet and endearing sort of book. So I'm really excited about that. My mom picks out some good ones for me. So I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy this one. Considering it's about a bookshop, I love that. Can't wait to read this one. Yeah, I totally been screwing up these numbers. This one's definitely number 19. I should have put sticky notes on these or something. My memory is like not the best, and keeping track of all these is hard. I should have just wrote out the list on a piece of paper instead of just putting them in order on here. Anyways, we have The Day of the Door by Laurel Hightower, and this is another one that I feel bad about. I don't think it's cheating. I read the first chapter and I really enjoyed it. And I remember that I took it with me to my son's dentist appointment, thinking that I would be spending a lot of time there for his orthodontist appointment, but he was like in and out of there. So I only got through one chapter and I was like, oh, this is really good. But I just like never picked it up again because I had all these other books going on and all these other projects in my life going on. But I can't wait to check this one back out again. So this is a book that has to do with siblings who, when they were children, one of, I believe it was their older sibling, he was locked in this room by the mother, and the mother is like very abusive, and the sibling dies. But it's sort of weird because some of the kids think that the mother did it, and other people in the family feel like she didn't do it. And the mom is now trying to sort of clear her name and have like these paranormal investigators come to the house to do like a TV show to prove that the house was haunted. So you're dealing with a lot of childhood trauma. Probably it's dual timeline, I would assume. So we might see more about the past. I'm actually really not sure about that. I'm just taking a guess. But also, you know, we have the adult children now and their estranged mom and trying to like make sense of their family dynamics. And that's the kind of book that I really enjoy. So I can't wait to get back to this. Book 20, we have Let the Woods Keep Our Bodies by E.M. Roy. And this takes place in a small town in Maine. And it just seems like it's going to be a really weird forest woods kind of story. So Leo Bates knows what's behind every corner in her hometown where she's lived her whole life. Some disjointed memories and grief for her late parents, sure, but nothing dangerous, nothing unexplainable. But when the familiar becomes strange, the longer you look at it, but the familiar becomes strange the longer you look at it. When Tate Mulder goes missing and Leo is pinned as the prime suspect, she can only watch as the town she thought she knew deteriorates around her. She's forced to confront the truth about her parents, Eston, which is the name of the town, and her relationship if she's to survive an onslaught of conspiracies, cryptic monstrosities, and whatever is hiding in the woods where Tate was last seen. Finding the girl she loves may be the only way to restore balance to Eston, if such a thing ever existed to begin with. So we have LGBTQ rep in here. She is being accused of making her girlfriend disappear. And there's just a lot of secrets in this town, and it sounds great. Book 21, Whatever Happened to Joe Rose by Krista Leo. Isn't this cover everything? I just feel like the font and the picture, this is the coolest cover. It's really up there with The Amazing Alligator Girl. I just really love this a lot. I think it looks so cool. In this, we have a woman who used to be a theater performer. She was known for her villainous performance as Lady Macbeth. Now she's an eccentric recluse. I'm not really sure what's happening here. There's a decaying Victorian home, and there's all kinds of weird stuff around personal trauma, vengeance, violence, and blood. So I don't really know what this story is about, but it sounds really cool and I want to read it. Book 22 is Cicada by Tanya Pell. This is part of the Killer VHS series. I was first introduced to this series when I read Candy Cane Kills, and I will be talking about that in my December wrap-up video, but I enjoyed that. This is a part of that collection, and I enjoyed Candy Cane Kills so much that the two books that I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I ordered with my pre-order are also part of this series. It's books 1 and 2. But this one here sounds really good. All I know about it is that it's about this woman, and she's at like a horror film festival, and she's with a guy that I believe she's in not a great relationship with. She might even want to break up with him when all hell breaks loose. It's kind of a creature feature kind of horror, so I'm really excited to see how she survives this whole event. Book 23 is Here in the Night by Rebecca Turkowitz, and this is a selection of short stories, and I believe this collection is all about haunted house stories, but I'm not 100% on that. There's just some blurbs about it on the back about hauntings, ghost stories, exploring the terror of human relationships, of regret and betrayal, the incalculable risk of love, ghost stories. I don't know if it's quiet horror. I'm not really sure, but the cover is really beautiful and I'm excited to read this. And book 25 of the 25 in 2025 that I want to read is The Skeleton Takes a Bow. This is the sequel to The Skeleton in the Family by Lee Perry, and this is a cozy murder mystery. I have this one, and then I also have The Skeleton Haunts a House. I ended up getting these as a Christmas gift, and I'm really excited to continue on with the series. I really enjoyed the first one. We are following Georgia Thackeray. She is like an English adjunct at a local college, but she goes back to her childhood home. Her parents are also professors, but they are away. So it's just she's living there with her teenage daughter and their skeleton friend. He is a living, well, can we say he's living? I mean, he's a talking skeleton, and he helped solve the mystery of his death in the first book. So in this one here, we are dealing with high school drama club. And this also takes place in Massachusetts as well. So I'm really excited to continue with this series. It's really fun. I found it really engaging. I learned like so much about bones in the last book. This one's going to be a good one, I can just tell. So that's it for my 25 in 2025. I have a really good feeling that I am going to read all 25 of them. I have more than 25 books that I own that I want to finish reading. I probably have about like 30 in total. But if I get to those other 5, great. If I don't, I don't. And this also doesn't cover the Shakespeare plays that I want to read that are at the bottom of this cart. That's going to be a separate video that's going to come out later this week, where I just walk you through which Shakespeare play or plays I'm reading each month. If you want to read along with me, that would be great. But let me know down below in the comments, what do you plan on reading in 2025? Are you going to really just be tackling what you own, or are you just going to stick with what you've been doing? Do you read mostly library books, audiobooks? What's the book that you most want to read in 2025? Definitely share that with me down below. I have to say, out of this entire collection, I really can't pick the one that I am most looking forward to because they all sound great. I'm excited to read all of them. That said, there is a new Grady Hendrix book coming out in January this month, and I'm definitely going to be grabbing that from the library and reading that one for sure. And I'm definitely looking forward to the next Rachel Harrison book, which I believe is coming out hopefully in the fall. That's it for today. Thanks for hanging out and listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.